guys, I'm Antonio Silva and welcome to my first reaction video of my channel. And tonight I'm gonna react to The Descent from 2005 by DeadMeat. Don't forget to follow me on my social media. Also, now you can listen the two theme songs of my channel on SoundCloud and Dancer. I'm gonna leave everything in the description below and let's start. Before, I want to say something. This is basically the kill count, which means how many people died in this movie. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Kill Count,
Hello,
where we tally up
James.
the victims in all our favorite horror movies.
Okay.
I'm James A. Janice, and today we're looking at The Descent,
The
a
Descent.
British horror film released in 2005.
Oh, it's a
written and
British
directed by Neil
horror
Marshall.
film.
The Descent is another one of my top 10 horror movies. A story
kinda
of
believe
grief
in
and
that.
friendship. It follows a group of 6 women who try to survive after they find themselves trapped inside an Appalachian cave system with an
Okay.
unexpected threat. This movie has some pretty good monsters and a bunch of great gore, but what I love most about
That's,
it
I
is that it's
believe.
not until nearly 60 minutes in that the cave crawlers show up, but it's still absolutely terrifying the entire time. That terror is built by claustrophobia and survivalism as the competent characters go up against setbacks and tight tunnels. Watching
Tiny
this
tunnels.
movie, you will never be more grateful
Is the
to
worst.
be above ground. In that sense, the monsters are just a sort of bonus for me, and a bonus for the kill count since they're humanoid. That means, according to my kinda vague rules, they'll be included whenever they get killed. Oh, also, this movie's great at jump scares, and I just
I
couldn't help
believe
but to
in you,
include a bunch in
James.
this episode.
Kinda.
So, you know, heads up. How many kills will we find deep inside Appalachia?
I don't know,
Let's
man.
find out and get to that.
Let's go.
The movie begins with some whitewater rafting, where some women in a boat
What a way
fight the
to
water
start
while
a
laughing.
movie.
These gal pals, Juno, Sarah, and Beth, are finishing up an adventure in Scotland. So
Okay,
Sarah's husband
Scotland.
Paul and daughter Jessica are waiting to meet them when they dock to take her back home. Whoa, what up with the look Juno be giving Paul there? You see that shit, Beth? On their way home, Sarah giggles with her daughter and asks her quiet husband if anything's wrong. I'm fine.
Oh no 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 no! Oh! Damn!
Are you fine, Paul? Because it doesn't really look like it from up
Already
here.
two
Oh,
people
his
died
hand
in
is
this
twitching
movie.
Too? This is just
Paul
like
and
that
Jessica.
one cop died in Scream 3.
And that
Only his
death
death wasn't
was
alongside of
brutal.
little girls, whose short flame of life just
Rest
got
in
blown
peace.
out. Shit. Sarah wakes up in a hospital and calls out for her daughter in the hallway, but the only thing to greet her there is an enveloping sense of darkness that, try as she might, she just can't outrun or escape.
Run, girl, run.
5 minutes in and this movie already kicks ass. It also hits hard, just like Sarah when she crashes into Beth and has the bad news broken to her that her husband and daughter are dead. Yeah, there's nothing not to cry about in
Yep.
this situation. It's so damn sad, I can't even get excited over this title card.
Title
Okay, I
card.
love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
That'll always rile me up. A year later, in the
1 year
Appalachian
later.
Mountains, USA, Sarah and Beth are on their way to another adventure. Although Sarah is obviously still pretty sad about the whole dead family thing. A bunch
think
of overhead
that's normal.
shots show just how isolated these ladies are about to be as they enter the fictional Chattooga National Park, probably meant to be in North Carolina somewhere around the Chattooga River. This isolated spot was chosen by Juno, who's waiting for them when they arrive at their home base cabin. She's excited for them to move on with another adventure, even though everyone's mindful of Sarah's emotional state.
Oh, is she? Well, she's here.
Sad.
Stuck at the time,
It's
eh?
really,
Joining them on
really
this year's
sad.
outing are some friends, including a pair of sisters. There's Rebecca, the older and more cautious one, and Sam, the younger sister, who's studying to be a doctor. Rounding out the group is
Doctor.
newcomer Holly, a friend of Juno's who's rocking an alternative aesthetic.
I've heard about you. You're that mentalist that jumps off buildings. Oh, base jumping. You should try it.
No thanks,
Yep.
I'd rather not die. To not die, may all of us live forever. These women aren't going base jumping anytime soon, but they are going spelunking the next morning. Adrenaline junkie Holly complains that the cave system they've chosen is a kitschy tourist spot with handrails and a gift shop. But fellow risk-taker Juno assures her that they're gonna have a good time. Almost as good a time they have teasing Beth for wearing some mom pajamas. Laugh all
Mom
you want,
pajamas.
gals. Those PJs look
That's-
comfy as hell.
that was funny.
Night, Sarah awakens
That
from her
was funny.
sleep and checks on a sound outside her window.
Oh!
Ah, fuck, motherfuck! Damn, Descent, getting me twice
Right
with the
in
pole
the
too
eye.
bad. on. The next morning, Juno wakes everyone up while flexing on them, and before they leave for their spelunkage, they take a group picture together on the porch. I'm sure that won't be retroactively depressing later. Not one bit. They take a couple of vehicles through some very thick forest, while Holly continues to complain about the lack of a challenge ahead of them.
Boredom caves. What if boredom caves?
Yeah, I hate boring shit. Like books. We don't need no boring books.
Yeah.
Get out of here, book,
Fuck that book.
bitch. They gear up with all their ropes and adventure hats, then follow Juno into the wilderness like she was John Hammond leading them into a dinosaur park. Shit, this
Or
might as well be
Indiana
Jurassic
Jones,
Park, what with the
if
epic
you know what I
landscape
mean.
shots and sweeping score. Great work by composer David Julian, who composed a bunch of Christopher Nolan
Memento,
films,
I
as
don't
well
know.
as
Cabin in the Woods,
Juno leads
I
the ladies
know.
to a daunting cave
The first
that
movie I
Beth
don't know,
determines to be too
but the
difficult
second
for her
movie I
skill
know.
set.
I'm an English teacher, not fucking Tomb Raider.
Well, that's too damn bad, Beth, because we already bought all this expensive climbing gear. Juno's the
Okay.
first to make the descent, and we're treated
The
to a
Descent.
number of really cool shots by director Neil Marshall as the others all follow her down. And a couple of obvious green screen shots and cartoon-looking bats. Whatever,
Cartoon.
man, it was 2005. And this movie don't need real bats to be dope. They begin to climb down into the cave system, which immediately proves to feel claustrophobic as fuck.
Oh,
Pretty impressive,
those
given that this
moans.
movie was mostly filmed in a studio, since filming in an actual cave would be too
Okay.
difficult and dangerous, what with all the film equipment and crew required. Instead, they used caves made of molded foam and wood
props.
framing, created by
So
production
everything
designer Simon
was
Bowles,
made
who
of
included
props.
lots of nice
Okay.
touches, like stalactites made of wax to get
Okay.
some good backlighting to shine through them. And Bowles also kept the movie from going over budget by reusing backgrounds and rearranging the set pieces for new sections of cave. Great work with that, dude. The women travel through the cave until they reach a larger section, which they bathe in red light using a safety flare. I've always loved this composite shot of them all exploring the cave. It kind of lends a fairy tale feel to the movie. They break for lunch as Holly gets footage with her camcorder, much more impressed by this cave system than she expected to be. Juno apologizes to Sarah for not being there for her more after the accident, but it's still a
Okay.
sore subject for Sarah, so she steps away and suggests that they start into the next passage of the caves. This next tunnel, which seems way too tiny for the tourist trap Holly had talked about, is full of water, both dripping
Yep,
and standing,
and tiny,
is a much
but
tighter
tiny
squeeze
holes.
than any reasonable person would want to fuck with. That's what makes this movie so horrific early on. It can be downright difficult to breathe while watching sometimes.
Yep,
the others
I
follow
kinda believe
Holly
in that.
through this petite passageway, but Sarah, who's bringing up the rear, finds herself stuck when trying to get through one of the narrowest spots. It's a ridiculously tense scene as Sarah grows more helpless and scared. But Beth is able to help her best friend out by calming her down with some words of tough wisdom.
What are you afraid of? What are you so afraid of? Listen, the worst thing that could have happened to you has already happened, okay? And you're still here.
True, Beth, true. But don't forget that things can always get worse. Case in point, now the tunnel is collapsing.
Oh,
Okay, move now!
Sarah has to shed a bag of equipment to make it through without getting pancaked. So the ladies now
Pancaked.
find themselves without a bunch of ropes.
That was funny, too.
Oh yeah, the path they just took in completely closed off to them now. Rebecca tries
That
to be
sucks.
encouraging and says that the guidebook noted 3 separate entrances to this cave system. But yo, about that book, Juno didn't bring it because there wasn't any need for it.
This isn't Borum Caverns, is it, Juno?
We're in the wrong fucking cave!
Well, it was the right one from Juno's perspective. But yes, they're in an unknown, unmarked cave system that Juno chose because she wanted them to be the first to explore it.
I wanted us to claim this place. Name it. I thought maybe your name. Or maybe yours.
With no one above ground aware of their location, their only option left is to move forward and hope to find another way out. They come across a gap that's approximately 1 Death Star chasm wide with no bottom in sight. What's worse, because
No
of that
bottom.
lost
Oh.
equipment bag, Rebecca's about to have to
Oh,
Tomb
no.
Raider her way across and create a path that the others can follow. Although no one kisses her cheek for luck, she successfully traverses the chasm.
Uh-oh.
At one point, using some old climbing
I think
equipment
that's
she finds,
not a
already
good
stuck in
sign.
the ceiling. Spooky! Yeah!
Oh,
they create a pulley
spooky,
system that
really
allows everyone
spooky.
else to join her, although Juno travels the hard way in order to recycle their equipment. After all, they don't have any to spare. She has a minor accident that burns Rebecca's hands, but all in all, she's able to make it and assess the old climbing equipment they found.
This equipment's at least 100 years old.
So like, almost as old as your mom? They continue on and find another unexpected presence down here, some cave drawings on the wall. Beth deciphers them to mean that there are two entrances to this sub-mountainous cave system, which is pretty promising for them all. But less promising is the fact that there's some theme music playing while the movie's messed up monsters are finally introduced.
Oh, there's the
Eager to
monster.
get a move on, Holly rushes past the others and towards what she thinks is daylight. It turns out to just be phosphorus in the rocks, though, and Holly pays for her overeagerness by falling down a shaft and fucking her leg up. Ugh.
I think
Sam's
that's a
doctor
big
comes
hole
in handy as she sets the
to
bone
fall.
so she can dress it. A painful ordeal for Holly, but one that she grits and bears. Meanwhile, Sarah is lured deeper into the cave by the sound of a little girl giggling, which she's been hearing every now and then, and the phantom voice leads her to discover the albino cave-dwelling
And there
monster,
he is.
who look creepy as all
Another
hell in the
creature.
spotlight. When she tries to inform everyone else, Juno doesn't believe her, and the others are more concerned about getting the injured Holly out of these caves. Guided by the air that blows their flame one way or the other, they end up climbing up a tiny waterfall right into a giant pit of animal bones. And if you think this looks creepy now, just wait until you see it in night vision on Holly's camcorder. Yeah, that's scary enough to start calling out for help.
Hello! Please! Is there anybody there? Hello!
Oh, right
It's
behind
on,
her.
motherfuckers. These
Oh,
creepy crawling cave dwellers have our intrepid
Now he's
spelunkers
crawling
scared shit.
on the roof?
And no wonder when they're screaming in their faces like that. The cave monsters are called crawlers, and their
Crawlers.
slightly vampiric appearance took the effects crew, headed
Oh,
by makeup
makeup.
artist Paul Hyatt, 5 hours to apply at first, since it involved contacts, teeth,
Okay.
and full-body paint that required a full
It's
body
a really
shave
pretty
to apply.
cool.
As with most makeup processes, they were
Makeup.
eventually able to shorten the
kinda like
time
it.
requirement and got it down to 3.5 hours. But that's still a long time to sit in a chair. Thankfully,
Really,
the
but
performers
really
in this
good.
makeup, such as actor
Good
Greg Conway,
makeup.
were pretty much always in good spirits, which resulted in an absurd amount of really fun behind-the-scenes footage where these made-up monsters are all goofing around together.
Puppet's got a head like a ping pong ball. Puppet's got a head like a ping pong ball.
Funny
Puppet's
times.
got a head like a ping pong ball. Ping pong, ping pong ball.
One of the crawlers leaps in front of Holly and makes damn quick work of her
Third
by biting
person
into her
to
shoulder.
be dead.
Yeah, no use checking on her, Juno. She dead. As Juno tugs
Holly
a war with the
is
creature
dead.
over Holly's dead body, the others all separate, which leads to splashy and crashy mishaps.
Splashy,
Holly's corpse is
splashy,
dragged
crashy,
away.
crashy.
The second crawler tackles and wrestles with Juno, but she wins this fight
Fourth
by stabbing the creature a few
male
times
craw-
with some
crawler.
climbing gear. The crawlers may not exactly
dead.
be human, but you sure can kill them like one. A pretty lucky break for the ladies, since humans are easily killable.
Oh, really? Oh no!
Which is why you have to be so careful around them. Holy shit, Juno. You
I
just
was
stabbed
not
a school
expecting
teacher in the
that.
neck. Miss Beth, will we still be having that quiz
Oh,
on Monday,
no.
or no? Beth grabs Juno's necklace as she falls to the ground, and Juno doesn't stick
Why
around
she
long
turned
enough to
heel,
watch Beth
I
take
think.
her final Beth breath. As Rebecca and Sam use a glow stick to head through the caves and eerily light creatures
Right
they don't
above
see,
them.
Sarah has a recurring nightmare about her dead daughter. Only this dream's got a twist. She comes to and uses the camcorder to see just how scully her surroundings have become, then hides from a bunch of crawlers as they come to the dining cave and feast down on Holly. Damn, Sarah, who you taping that for? Alfonso's not gonna be interested. The crawlers get close to Sarah, but since they're blind, they don't manage to
they
find
are
her
blind,
before being
okay.
distracted away by the sound of Juno calling out Sarah's name. Rebecca and Sam are also followed by a crawler who gets close, and despite its attempts to find them by sound, using echolocation and scary screams, the sisters stay strong and silent, and successfully evade it until it too hears Juno and heads towards her shouting.
The noise she's making, she'll break every one of those things down on her head. As long as it's not on mine.
Juno's yelling to her friends because she's found some arrows on the wall that are possibly pointing to a way out of this cave. Even the sight of another crawler ain't
Another
enough to
crawler.
hush her high, so she follows
How
it until
delightful.
she finds it jumping out like a scare maze actor. Before
They
the
are
crawler
in
can kill
everywhere.
Rebecca,
Oh,
Juno
no.
stops it with a climbing
Fifth,
kick in the back.
the
Hey,
milk
wait,
crawler.
Juno, I don't think it's dead yet. Oh,
He's
yeah,
dead.
now it's dead. Good work. After Rebecca gives her a real quick thank you hug, Juno tells her and Sam that the monsters killed Holly and Beth, which, you
Yep.
know, is a bit more than a white lie. Elsewhere, Sarah apologetically loots Holly's corpse enough to build herself a survival torch, then
Oh.
ends up discovering exactly what
How
became
genius
of Beth.
she is. And
She finds
she's
Beth
alive?
still
How?
alive, though, you know, probably not for
Ah,
long.
for a
And
few
through
seconds,
verbally
I
beleaguered
think.
words, Beth tells Sarah that she shouldn't trust Juno, since she's the one who did this to her. Oh, and also because
Yep.
of another thing, too.
It sucks.
Yeah, sorry, Sarah. Juno had been sleeping with Paul,
Love
thus the
each
weird look
other.
between them by the river, and Paul's awkward silence before he was permanently
Yep.
silent. With her
That-
teeth
that
feeling complete,
was so
Beth asked
brutal,
Sarah
and
to
that
put her out of her
scene, too.
misery. And although Sarah's reluctant to do it at first, she eventually agrees to her best friend's dying wishes and mercy kills Beth
And
by
then
crushing her head with a rock.
Beth
It's
is
shot real tasty,
finally dead.
but still, damn,
Yep.
man, giving me some missed flashbacks here. A crawler attacks Sarah, but dude, she's had enough of this shit by now. So she knocks it down and kicks at it until it's making some
Another
squishy
crawler.
sounds that can only mean death. A lady crawler then chases Sarah until she trips into a red pit of liquid that I can only assume is blood, seeing as how Sarah looks like Carrie when she comes
Carrie,
up for air.
references.
I mean, it's either blood or a pool of grenadine.
I don't know, man.
Maybe those
I
are
don't know.
cherries floating
I don't
around
know
in
either.
it. Oh, you could use this cave to make ice cream treats. Or you could use it to kill an
Yeah,
insect,
yeah.
which is what the female crawler tries
Those
to
kind
do
of
to Sarah.
things, yeah.
But Sarah relents, and with one toothy bone, she stabs the cave dweller in the eye, killing
Another
it brutally
crawler,
before
dead.
letting its body
Okay.
sink down into the blood pit. Then Sarah stays
How many
perfectly
crawlers
still
exist
like
on
a
this-
goddamn
on this
G while
movie?
another crawler comes in and steps
Damn.
on her goddamn
There-
head.
there-
Oh man,
there are
you
many
creatures are
crawls
so
in this
fun.
movie.
Sarah's last name might as well be Connor up in this bitch. She is now a total badass, just beating crawlers to death with
And
bones. Gotta love it when a victim fights
goodbye.
back. Sarah screams loud enough for the others all to hear. And although Rebecca and Sam want to cut their losses and follow the arrows out, Juno is reluctant to leave her friend/ex-lover's widow behind. Maybe a pack of crawlers will change her mind though, Juno.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's not
what I
a good
thought.
sign
Sam
for
runs
her.
the fastest and reaches another chasm, but she doesn't hesitate for long before starting to make her way across. As her sister and Juno watch, Sam is attacked by a cave dweller who crawls across the ceiling to kill her by clawing her neck out.
Sam.
manages
Oh, no.
to stab the crawler and drop it down the chasm, but to her sister's horror, there's no coming back from a neck wound like that. Rebecca
rest
is
in peace,
attacked
Sam.
and dragged away from Juno, then killed when the crawler
And Rebecca
eviscerates her stomach with its
is
teeth.
already
Sorry,
dead
Juno.
too.
You are not going to be able to
Rest
save
in
her.
peace,
Juno is forced
Rebecca.
into jumping down the chasm in front of her, and when she lands in the pool at the bottom, she finds the crawler that Sam
Another crawler?
still alive
Really?
and kicking. She puts an end to that.
Oh,
stabbing
and
it
then
again.
she
and this
killed-
time, I think it's dead for good.
She killed
since
the
it has
crawler.
blood coming out of its mouth. That's usually a pretty
Oh.
dead thing to do. Juno surfaces and climbs up the cavern wall until she's finally reunited with Sarah, who at this point looks just as scary as the crawlers. She asks after Rebecca, and then, more pointedly, about Beth. And when Juno lies about having seen Beth die, Sarah gets into a mood that evokes the thing music again.
Uh-oh.
The two frenemies light their way through the cave system, making the best pair of playable characters an adventure video gamer could ask for. I'm pretty sure they have attack bonuses against hordes of crawlers, which is great for them,
That
or else they'd be
X
toast
is
in
so
this 3-on-2 handicap
freaking cool.
match. They have a
I
bit of
gotta
a
to
bust
admit.
up, and when it's all said and done, the three crawlers are all added to the list. Since
15
Juno bashes one of their skulls open against the rock, Sarah
15
kills another by
crawlers
straight
dead
sticking her thumbs
already.
into its eyes, and Juno polishes off the third one with a torch in the mouth and a pick to the head. Sarah
Yep.
grabs the climbing pick and shows Juno her pendant, causing Juno
I
to
think
realize
that
that Sarah
is,
must have found Beth and figured out all her
an
secrets.
X.
Since
An
those
X.
secrets included adultery and
I think.
accidental murder, Sarah decides to stick that pick into her ex-friend's leg and leave her with
Why?
nothing but the
There's too
evilest
many
eyes
heels
I've
in
ever
this
seen.
movie, too.
Sarah runs off to find this cave's exit, while Juno takes the pick out of her leg and resolves to fight to the death. Even though, as this kind of weird shot shows, she's got quite the imbalanced fight ahead of her. Sarah hears Juno scream before she falls down another short shaft, but at the bottom of it, she finds a ray of sunlight. And this one ain't a trick of the mind or some bullshit phosphorus.
Freedom!
It's actual sunlight. True salvation, which Sarah scrambles her way towards in some inspirational shots. Skulls underhand be damned. She makes it to the end of Mother Nature's birth canal and fights her way above ground, then travels over the river and through the woods until she's back at her vehicle, which she thankfully has the keys to. She starts it up and drives like a madwoman away from the cave system that she's all too eager to leave behind. And when she finally makes it out to a paved road as the score crescendos, it's a truly feel-good moment. Sarah pulls over so she can have a good cry, only snapping out of it when a Final Destination 2 truck drives past her honking its horn. She pukes out the window, and right when she thinks she's got it all out, it turns out she doesn't.
Oh, surprise!
And that's where the movie would end. If you saw it in theaters in the United States,
I didn't
the
watch
UK
it.
and home video
I didn't watch it.
had an additional scene that was deemed too depressing for American audiences, wherein Sarah finds herself back in the cave sharing a hallucinatory moment with her dead daughter in a birthday cake. The birthday cake ends up being her torch, and a long shot with crawlers squealing in the background suggests that Sarah's pretty screwed. In both versions, though, after the movie ends, we get one last somber look at the photograph
and
the women took together before most of them got killed. Speaking of kills, how many were there in the descent? Let's find out and get to the numbers.
Uh-oh. He's ready to kill some crawlers.
By my count, there were 15 deaths in the descent.
15.
In a rare occurrence, only
not
one
bad
was a
for
male
the first
human,
movie.
while the others consisted of 5 female humans.
For a first
8 male
movie,
crawlers,
not
and
bad.
1 female crawler.
Okay.
Don't you love a 4-part pie chart? With a runtime of 100 minutes, that left us with a kill on average every 6.66 repeating minutes.
Oh.
That's the Devil Man.
I know,
I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Paul. There are a ton of awesome and gory kills in this movie, but that first death is so sudden and
I
tragic.
agree.
It's an even more traumatizing car accident
scene was
than the catastrophe
awesome.
in Final Destination 2.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not including Jessica in this award because, I mean, you know, it's a little kid. Seems kind of cruel. Dull Machete for lamest kill will go to the first crawler that Sarah kills, which is done with a couple of off-screen head stops. And that's it. The Descent came out in 2005 and is one of my favorite horror movies from a decade where I mostly don't like the horror movies. I know, there's tons of exceptions.
Yep.
I just mean the general vibe of those years, okay? I'll check out the subpar sequel on Sunday, but until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been The Kill Count. Thank you for watching this week's Kill Count. A lot of patrons I want to thank, so thank you Kevin Hammonds MacArthur, James Cady.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the video here because I want to make my opinion about this movie and this video as well, and I think it's a great movie to watch. I like the deaths, and I'm gonna give for this video 3 stars because of the reasons I already said it. And yep, that's it. If you like this video, put like. If you don't like this video, put dislike. Comment something you want on the comment section below, and subscribe to my channel, of course. And see you guys in the next reaction video.